In a speedrun, every single second matters. Spending one moment too long navigating a menu, doing a jump, or destroying a boss can cost you the first place position. Oftentimes, small time saves or riskier maneuvers is what earns somebody their gold split. Spending days, weeks, and even months just to shave off a few seconds. But what if I told you that there was a trick so broken, so insanely powerful, that it saves over 3 hours of time? A trick so divisive that a whole new category had to be made just to account for its existence. And no, I'm not talking about a credit warp, a wrong warp, or arbitrary code execution. I'm talking about, quite possibly, the biggest raw time save in speedrunning history. I bet a lot of you right now are scratching your heads, wondering what kind of crazy technique could create something this influential. What kind of practice has to go into a time save of this caliber? But what if I once again blew your mind and told you it only takes roughly 2 button presses? Things are going to get way more complicated than you could ever imagine, especially for a LEGO game. So without delaying the point much longer, let's dive deep into the glitch that broke LEGO Batman 3. LEGO Batman 3 Beyond Gotham is an action platforming game that was released way back in 2014, and was added to the Speedrun.com leaderboards 2 years later in 2016. The first official speedrun of this game was submitted on July 19th of that year by a runner named Doc, and this run clocked in at just about 5 hours long. This route has players navigating through the game's 15 main story levels, opting to ignore a 16th bonus level featuring a cameo from Adam West's Batman. This category was, at the time, called Any Percent, in reference to the fact that you could beat the game with any completion percent as long as you finished the main story. It's all pretty straightforward. You make your way to the end of the game, and once you beat level 15, the final level, you call your time. But there was an angle that no runner had considered quite yet. Let's say, for argument's sake, that you were able to beat level 15 without beating the previous 14 story missions all the way through. What happens then? As long as you finish the story, does it matter if you played through any of the previous levels? There's no reason to even consider this. These types of skips only happen once in a blue moon, and in a LEGO game, I really doubt it. One day, out of the blue, a Discord user with no runs on the LB3 board had accidentally stumbled upon the biggest time save in LEGO history, and it goes a little something like this. You play through levels 1, 2, and 3 normally until you gain access to the Batcave as your main level hub. Once there, you purchase the extra called mini characters, which makes your characters, well, mini. This allows you to clip out of bounds in this very specific corner of the Batcave. Choose to play as any character with flight, drop out of bounds, and navigate your way up to the trophy room. And here's where things get interesting. Remember that bonus level I mentioned earlier, level 16? This level is sort of an homage to the old Adam West Batman TV show, and in any normal circumstance can be accessed in the trophy gallery of the Batcave, but only after you've beaten every single level in the main story and rescued each level's character in peril. It's kind of like how the old collect 1 million stud levels were in the early LEGO games. But notice I said it's blocked off in a casual playthrough, because using this out of bounds clip, we're going to enter the level. Using some very careful movement, we can maneuver ourselves behind this bookcase, which just so happens to be where the level's loading zone is. So what, you might be saying? Big deal. Level 16 isn't even played in a full any % run of this game, so why does any of this matter? Let's break this down. If you have somehow entered the post-game bonus level, then logistically, doesn't it stand to reason that you would have had to play through the main story in order to unlock it? Well, the game certainly thinks so. Because once you enter this level, the game immediately checks itself to see if you're supposed to be there. And once it finds the contradiction of you being in the post-game without beating the main game, it corrects that mistake. And not by crashing the game, reverting your save, or simply moving you back to the game's hub. No, instead, it unlocks all previous story missions in the game, including level 15. From there, you can either complete or leave level 16, select and play level 15 from the menu, beat it, and call your time. Now obviously, this is a huge skip to hit. You essentially get to cut out over 12 levels from your run, lowering your time drastically. When this skip was first discovered, it was theorized to save almost 4 hours of time. But wait, let's back up. Why does this even work? Well, there's a couple of things we need to explain. The first thing is why the loading zone to the bonus level even exists in the first place, even before the requirements are met. The current reasoning, as we understand it, is that it was originally intended to be a developer shortcut. When testing out games like this, developers will often set down shortcuts in order to move between levels with ease, without having to beat the entire story just to access one specific area. When a game finishes development, these shortcuts are often removed, or placed in places where no player would casually find them. In this game's example, the devs moved all of their load shortcuts about 5 minutes outside of the main map, just kind of floating around in space, save for just one. For whatever reason, the loading zone for level 16 is right behind this Lego bookcase. The next thing we need to talk about is how this bug affected the LB3 leaderboard as a whole. While the early history is still kind of a blur, Speedrun mod Los and early runner Prince gave me some insight, saying that the discovery of this bug actually led to the separation of the any % and the no levels early category. On February 9th of 2019, the categories would officially split, with the aforementioned any % using this glitch to get to the final level and the no levels early requiring you to play through the first 15 levels. But the story of this glitch doesn't end here. While some may assume that the runners were satisfied with this discovery, anyone who's spent even a second in speedrunning will know that it's very unlikely that the optimizations stopped here. So the runners began asking themselves, where could we make up more time? How can we push this record even lower? There were two main things that slowed this run down, and two things that people were searching for. The first thing, and the biggest thing, was a way to enter the left side of the Batcave after level 1, since the majority of time in this run was spent playing through levels 2 and 3, just so that you gain access to the rest of the Batcave and the trophy room. When you beat level 1 of this game, you get booted into a smaller version of the cave, only giving you minor access to Batman's arsenal. The area you need to enter is on the far left and is also blocked off, and upon beating level 2, you end up in the Watchtower, far from the Batcave itself. But this is only one part of the puzzle. The second thing that runners wanted to speed up was the out-of-bounds process. Since clipping out of bounds could be finicky and in a run so short, if you messed up it could cost you the record, there weren't many other places to make up said lost time. Focusing back on that first point, runners did solve half of the issue. In a run submitted by Chimkin on January 8th of 2020, it was discovered that by capping your game's frame rate at 30 FPS, you could use Green Lantern's ball form to clip out of bounds after level 2 and hit the loading zone to return to the Batcave, allowing runners to skip doing level 3. While this was a huge improvement, you still had to play through level 2, which is still a pretty long level, with a boss fight that is essentially on a timer. It would take something massive to find a sequence break this big. A glitch that allows you to just warp into loading zones. Even trying to theorize something as complex as this sounds like a nightmare, so what could it possibly be? All of this and more would be answered by Los, who on July 31st, almost exactly 5 years after the first speedrun of this game ever, would send this clip into the LEGO Speedrunning Discord. By simply pausing the game and then unpausing, he was able to clip through this door. How could this be? Well, it's actually quite the simple explanation. By opening up the map menu as one player, it locks the camera to that player. However, the other player can still move around. By locking the camera on Robin up in this corner, it unloads the door blocking the entrance, allowing Batman to just walk on through. A huge oversight on the developer's side, but that's not all. Because not only is this beginning door after level 1 able to be bypassed with this glitch, but also entering the bonus level. There's no more need for clipping out of bounds and risking messing up, because all it takes now is for you to stay by the elevator as player 2, open up the map, and then close it. The camera being on player 2 prevents the bookshelf in front of the loading zone from loading in. And once you enter into that area, you're in the level. One save and exit later, and you're already in level 15, the end of the run. The first run to use this strategy was submitted by Snolid Ice on that same day, at a time of 23 minutes and 40 seconds. This run was very messy, however, and mostly seemed like just an attempt to snag the world record before anybody else could do it. Nevertheless, it's still pretty impressive. That time would, in the present day, be lowered down to a current world record time of 4 minutes and 38 seconds. Yeah, you can beat LEGO Batman 3 in under 5 minutes. The major time saves in this run are mostly due to the discovery of the hidden No Cut 5 cheat code sometime around May of 2021. This cheat code allows you to bypass every cutscene in the game, saving you a wide margin of time. The use of drop-in warps and other decently complicated glitches were enacted to help lower the time in individual levels, but that may be a story for another day. Make sure that if you enjoy videos like this, you check out my previous projects, like the full comprehensive world record history of LEGO Batman 1, or check out some of my other previous challenge runs I've done. Thank you all for watching. I've been BD1P. Peace out and goodbye.